Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donley Auctions Hour.
Welcome to the Donley Auctions Hour. Thank you for joining us. We are here every Saturday at 1 o'clock. I'm Susan, and I'm here with Randy Donley. We are the owners of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois, folks. We're just 60 miles west of Chicago. You should come out and see us. Today, we're here to talk about items that you might have at home that are of value that you might want to sell at auction. Hi, Randy.
Hey, Susan.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you, too.
We have a lot going on this week.
I just want to tell you, I got to wear these headphones at home because actually I can't hear out of my left ear right now. And, you know, sometimes that might be an advantage.
Oh, my gosh.
To our relationship.
Yeah, then you can have the TV on as loud as you want.
But, you know, one thing I wanted to talk about, Susan, right away, right out of the guns today.
All right.
Or out of the beginning, is why we're on Saturdays, which is primarily financial shows.
I know. I've listened to it.
People have said to me, well, Randy, you're doing an antique show. I don't get it. Why would you want to be on Saturdays when we're, it's all financial shows and everything? Mm-hmm. And I said, you know, if you don't know this about the show, you are totally missing the point, and that is we are a financial show.
Yes, we are.
We're not here, Donley Auctions Hour isn't here to necessarily teach people about the art of collecting antiques, even though we do. I mean, we tell you a lot of facts and everything about interesting antiques and everything, but our job is actually to help people that do have collections and have already collected with the task of selling. So often people have gone through years and years of collecting and acquiring all this stuff, but they never thought of an end game. They never thought, okay, someday after I've collected it all, now what do I do with it?
That's right.
And that is happening more and more and more with the average age. Average age of a collector today is 70 years old, which surprises me. I thought it would be much older. I really did. But right now, people are passing away. People are just changing their lifestyles where they're maybe moving and not taking their collections with them. So we're here, folks, to help you turn your collections into cash.
That's right.
We can help you do that.
We're going to make it fit in your wallet, as I like to say. That's right. And you know what? Going on today, right now, as we speak, we're holding a firearm and ammunition auction, folks. Are you in the Union, Illinois area? Stop on in. It's 1 o'clock now. I say we probably have about 3 more good hours of firearms happening.
You know, we probably do, Susan. Yeah, and again, yes, right now we do have this auction going on, folks. And I don't want to tell you to turn off your radio by any means.
No,
we want you to continue to listen.
Drive out to Union with the radio on.
Or if you're not driving and don't want to come to Union, you can still go turn on your computer. You can listen to us and watch our auction live. You know, all you have to do is go to DonleyAuctions.com, and that's Donley, D-O-N-L-E-Y. A lot of people spell it wrong.
I know.
They put two L's or two N's in there and everything. D-O-N-L-E-Y. And we've got 2-3 more hours of gun sales. But tomorrow also, Susan.
Big day tomorrow, Sunday.
It is a big day. You know, somebody said to me, oh, Randy, you know what? I won't be there on Sunday. I'm not interested in ammo. Well, we're not only selling ammo, folks. We've got all kinds of goodies there. A collection of animal mounts, for example. You know, there's gun stocks, there's gun parts, there's toy cap guns, there's reloading equipment, primers, powder. There's even antique fishing gear and lures, holsters, and even knives, Susan.
Yeah,
I mean, a
big knife collection, right? You know, and keep in mind, how many days until Christmas? I don't even know. I don't want to know. But what a great time to get to an auction to buy some gifts for people.
It really is.
Yeah, the auction starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow. It started at 10 a.m. today, too. But the doors open at 8, so you can come out early, have coffee and donuts, and take a look at everything that we have.
And I did think about, you know, for next week, we'll probably be talking about Christmas collectibles on the air.
Oh, okay. That's a good topic.
You know, but I mentioned knives. So I do want to remind everybody also that we do have a huge 1,500 fixed blade knives that we're going to be selling as an online only auction upcoming. Right. So watch our website. Go to the website. Are we still
taking consignments for that?
Oh my gosh, folks! If you have anything in knives, whether they be switchblades, folding knives, fixed blade knives, bayonets, and everything.
So even military knives, we can take more consignments for.
Absolutely,
yes? Okay,
absolutely. But there's so many knives out there that are huge money.
Stabby things, yeah. That'd be great.
I mean, Randall. Always watch for Randall knives. Boy, they bring a premium. Everybody
they sell well.
Wants Randall knives. So
that's right. So send us an email if you do have a knife collection or even one great knife to sell. Send it to consign, CONSIGN, at DonleyAuctions.com. Send us some general information and some photos, and we will definitely give you the next steps. Mm-hmm. We know when that's coming up? Early next year, probably, right?
It will be. It'll be right after the...
Good. So they still have time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, good.
So what else we're going to be talking about today?
Oh, I can't wait. I have a very interesting topic of discussion that I'm interested in.
You do?
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
We're going to have a fiesta.
Oh, speaking of fiesta, yes.
Not a siesta, a fiesta.
I'll take a siesta now.
I'm sure you would.
But one of the topics I want to discuss a little later in the show, in our next segments, is collecting Abraham Lincoln memorabilia.
Oh.
Honest Abe was probably one of our all-time greatest president. Reagan, he's up there. Mm-hmm. But Honest Abe was truly an honest lawyer. When he was just running for office, other people were afraid to run against him. Even Stephen Douglas said he can't be beat. He's too honest of a man. And the Democrats understood fully they could not beat Abraham Lincoln because everybody across the country already knew what an honest, important person he was. And that's how he got his nickname, Honest Abe.
Oh, wow. Great story.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about Abraham Lincoln collecting.
Okay. Wonderful. So coming up, we can even start now if you want. I want to talk about Fiesta wear. Talk about going from Abraham Lincoln to Fiesta wear.
We're all over the board,
I know. That's okay. We want to keep it interesting, and we don't want you to change the channel by any means. But we have an expert on the line with us today. His name is Brian Mapes. He's from Huntley, Illinois, and he is one of our expert consultants who has expertise in cars, Coca-Cola, and banks. And there's so much to say about Brian. Do we want to introduce him?
Well, I do. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian has come to start helping us at the Donley Auctions in the past 6 months or so. Originally from Michigan, he's moved, as Susan said, right to Huntley, Illinois. I mean, he's interested in antique cars from an early age. Did his first auction, when just a kid. He paid $15 for a Schwinn Corvette 3-speed. And from there, he's gone on to fabulous things such as working at the Gilmore. He was a supervisor at the Gilmore Car Museum for 10 years. And if you're not familiar with car museums, the Gilmore is the largest automobile museum in the U.S., 190,000 square feet of exhibit space. And we're so happy to have
very
Brian
happy
with
to have
us.
Brian on our team. But we want to talk about one of his specialties, and that is Fiesta wear. Brian, you on the line with us?
Excuse me, I am on the line.
Well,
definitely.
Thank you for joining us today, Brian. We're going to talk a little bit about Fiesta wear, and we're going to continue on with this discussion in our next segment. So don't go anywhere, folks. But right now, Brian, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay. I was born and raised in Michigan, as Randy had said.
Did we miss anything in that intro?
Yeah, stayed there, enjoyed life there, but ended up with two daughters that decided that Chicago was the place to be, and so with family here and granddaughter here, it was time to move here. So,
well, we're glad you're in the area.
Yeah, I just appreciate the area, and then I was looking around because of my interest in antiques and things, and what do I do? because I kind of sold off a lot of things as part of the downsizing and moving and semi-retirement. And that's when I came across Donley's and said, hey, why not talk to Donley and see what they're up to, and maybe there's something that will help keep me busy here. So,
well, that's great.
But my history of Fiesta goes all the way back to I was raised on Fiesta ware with my mother. She was one of those that bought it back when it first came out.
Well, Brian, hold that thought. Hold that thought, because we're out of time, but I want to continue talking about Fiesta ware in our next segment. So don't go anywhere, folks. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here every Saturday at 1 o'clock. And we're going to be talking about upcoming auctions. We have a calendar full of auctions coming up and other items we're looking for consignment. So you can always give us a call at 815-923-7000 or give us an email at consign@donleyauctions.com. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan. I'm co-owner of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois, here with Randy Donley and our expert consultant, Brian Mapes, who is an expert in many fields, but today we are specifically talking about Fiesta ware. Hi, Brian. Thanks for joining the show. Tell us what Fiesta ware is.
Okay. Well, Fiesta ware was first introduced in 1936 by the Homer Laughlin Company out in Newell, Virginia, right on the Ohio-Virginia border, where a lot of the potteries were in that general vicinity, and so they were there as well. And if you look at history, what was 1936? That was in the heart of the Depression yet, and Homer Laughlin said it's time we come out with a basic set of dishes for people that they could have that would be bright colors and start to change the mood a little bit in terms of the house and how things looked during the Depression years. And so they introduced Fiesta in 1936. They had 5 colors, were red, a cobalt blue, they used a light green, a yellow, and an ivory. And those were the original colors. And they stayed with those and added a turquoise color back in 37. But they offered this pottery all the way through 1972, and various other colors were added, some were taken away. But the thing is, it's amazing how much of it was produced and how some people don't even know about Fiesta now. Because in 1948, I looked up some numbers, they produced 10,129,449
Wow.
pieces of Fiesta ware.
What?
You know,
That's
in 1
a
year.
lot in 1
Brian,
year.
this is. I'm glad you brought it up as quick as you did as to what it is, because most people don't know that when you use the term Fiesta ware, that Fiesta ware is in fact, dishes, plates, cups, saucers. There's pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wide variety of Fiesta ware out there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a complete China set, basically, made affordable for people at that time. You could buy 109 pieces of Fiesta ware for $14.95 with $1 down. That's how they started it. So,
wow,
it's
early
out
financing.
there,
yeah.
And who knows? Grandma and Grandpa may have some. You may have inherited some, but Fiesta ware is out there yet, and it's in demand. Especially if you happen to have something rare and don't even realize it. I didn't have much to do with it, unfortunately, but a new record was set for selling a single piece of Fiesta ware just a month ago. When a coffee pot in a very rare medium green color sold, it sold for over $50,000 at auction.
Wow.
For
Now, that's 50,000, 50,000, folks.
For a coffee.
And one of the reasons, again, why are we here? Because we're a financial show warning people how to sell your items, because, you very well may have had a $50,000 piece of Fiesta ware that you sold or were ready to sell at a garage sale.
I know.
These are the kind of things that turn up all the time at sales
Consignment
and
shops
garage
and-
sales and everything. Unfortunately, for $1, $2, $3, you hear about these kind of finds all the time. So we're warning you, please be aware of what your items are worth before you sell them.
That's right. Brian, tell us a little bit more about other rare items and what's of value? Are there certain colors that are more valuable than others in certain pieces?
That's a great point. First of all, the garage sale point, because, yes, there are. There were some things made, and they were actually made in 36 but discontinued in 37 because for various reasons they just weren't being produced. They didn't come off the assembly as well as they thought, or they just were not popular. And some were added, some were taken away. So, for instance, there is a turquoise, and it's called a covered onion soup bowl. And it looks an awfully lot like a sugar bowl with a cover on it, almost the same size. If you don't know the difference, a sugar bowl is going to sell for $25 in turquoise. This covered onion soup bowl is going to sell for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000.
Wow.
Incredible,
Oh
incredible numbers.
And been using it as a sugar bowl and not even realize it.
Yeah.
You know, that's so true. You know, it's the reason for this show, again, is to keep alerting people that these things could happen. And places like ours, Donley Auctions, we will give free opinions if you send us photos of what you have. We'll tell you whether you have something or you don't. I always use the terminology, well, you wouldn't throw away your lottery tickets without checking out the numbers.
That's right.
And the same thing is true. You don't want to sell off items like this without first talking to somebody who knows, especially when we're offering our advice free of charge.
No obligation.
Susan, what do they need to do?
That's right. Go to our website at donleyauctions.com. You can send us an email at consign@donleyauctions.com, or you can call us at 815-923-7000. Brian, I have another question. Well, you talked about colors. Is there any colors that we should be looking for, and what kind of markings will tell us that we've got the real deal?
Yeah, well, first of all, we also need to mention real quickly that they ended this Fiesta production in 72, but in 1986, they came out with Fiesta again. And so you've got basically two generations of Fiesta. One is the original vintage, and the other is not. And there's a number of ways, but the number one way of telling Fiesta is kind of a basic starting point, is most of it is marked Fiesta on the back.
Okay.
So you'll know right away if it is or it isn't.
Now, does that also mean the modern repops, the 1980s versions and 90s, are they marked the same way?
They are marked Fiesta, but they are marked with a capital F. The older is marked with a small f.
Oh, thank you for that
great information.
Okay.
That's one of the big designations. And again, not 100% because there was a little crossover there, but that's a good general rule, is if
Capital
it's a smaller F, it's probably going to be older.
Okay.
F for fake.
Colors.
No, capital F
for fake. Yeah.
No, capital F is the older stuff.
No, I
capital
thought
F
not.
is the current. They're still producing.
Capital
currently.
F is the current. Yeah.
Yep. And, you know, one of the things people look at is they're a little afraid of Fiesta because of the red, the rumor of the radiation red Fiesta. And yes, that is true. It was made with uranium. And if you put a Geiger counter on original red Fiesta, it will go off. And it'll tell you, yes, this has uranium in it.
Well, all kidding aside, then, is it, in fact, dangerous to own?
No, it is not.
Okay.
So
there's not enough there to...
There's not enough there, and especially as long as it's not cracked or chipped, you're fine because it's not leaking out as such. So, you know, that's one of the things. But people pay for uranium red because of the name and the association, and they stopped producing it in 43 because of the war. They needed the uranium for the war, so you couldn't put it in dishes anymore. So that's how the red came out.
Great
and the red
story.
looks orange, by the way, to us. We call it orange. The color is English red because Fiesta Ware, the creator of it, was Frederick Curtin Reed, which was an Englishman out of Staffordshire, England. So that's why it's English red. And you'll hear words like the large plates are chargers because they'll be termed that because of the English connection to Fiesta Ware.
I'll be darned. And I always thought it was orange, so they called it, that's their version of red. Okay.
That's their version of red, yes. So the other popular color is medium green, which was introduced in 1949. And by the time 49 came around, colors were changing. It wasn't as popular, and not as much medium green was made. And so medium green is a very desirable color. It looks nice, and it's more valuable because fewer pieces. It's the old supply-demand rule applies with vintage Fiesta.
I'll be darned.
Medium green is very desirable. The red's desirable. And the bottom line is, if you're buying it, whatever colors you like are the ones you should buy.
We always try to mention, buy what you like, and you can't go wrong. You'll always enjoy it, especially if you're using it. So
absolutely.
But we are almost out of time.
Any last
Brian?
words on Fiesta wear, Brian?
Buy it, enjoy it, and don't put it in the dishwasher and don't put it in the microwave. Those are the two rules for vintage Fiesta wear.
Wow,
Good.
Great information.
And ladies and gentlemen, Brian is with us at Donley Auctions. So any questions that you have, you can call us at 815-923-7000.
That's
and
right.
we can put you right in touch with Brian, who will help you with all this.
That's right. And we'd love to find a collection for Brian to review. So send it to consign@donleyauctions.com. You know, we don't normally ask for consignments on dishware and stuff, but Fiesta ware, I think this could be a great item for everybody to check and see if you have, and we'll have Brian look at it for you. So don't go anywhere, folks. We have some more interesting stories coming up next. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour here every Saturday at 1 o'clock on AM 560. The Answer.
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. Thanks for sticking with us during that break. I'm Susan, and this is Randy. Hi, Randy. We're with Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. Folks, we're talking about items you might have at home that are of value that you might want to put up for auction because now is the time to sell. Right, Randy?
Well, it certainly is, because auctions are doing very well, folks. And with the advent of the computer in recent years, I mean, people just forget that you don't have to be live at an auction. You don't
That's
have to
right.
go
You
to
have to sit
auctions.
there all day long.
And now we're selling not only all over the country, we're selling all over the world.
That's right. We have thousands and thousands of bidders at our auctions from all over the world, all looking at the same items. So think about that. You might have 300 people live at an auction, but there's thousands of people at home on their computers looking at the same item. So you got a lot of exposure.
And, one thing I wanted to talk about today, because when I was a kid, one of the first collections of anything I ever remember seeing was at our bank in Berwyn, Illinois. There was a Lincoln Federal Savings, or it was Lincoln was the name of the bank. Mm-hmm. And it was just so interesting because the owner of the bank collected Lincoln because that was the name of the bank. And there were busts, there were bronze busts, there was chalk, there were photographs and everything. And I used to love to go look in the glass cabinets there. And that was kind of one of the things that really started me, I think, as being interested in being a collector, just the way it was displayed and everything. So I always remember Lincoln collecting as a big hobby. And it surprised me because I found a lot of collectors that were either working at banks and everything because, Lincoln is on currency. He's on the penny, of course. He's on the $5 bill. And I assume he still is. I don't know. Since they've changed currency, I haven't looked at a fiver in a long time. But Lincoln, was put on so much currency and everything and known because he was known as Honest Abe.
That's
and
right.
One of the things in our business, Susan, is the word integrity and honesty. That's what you have to have if you're going to have any successful business, really. But it's so important in the auction business. So Lincoln, to me, is very, very important. And, some of the different aspects of collecting Lincoln, again, become different total collections. For example, beyond coins, which Lincoln is on many, many coins, Lincoln was also on stamps. The 4-cent purple postage stamp, which everybody thought was common, and they just used them all up. Actually,
that, yeah.
The 4-cent purple Lincoln postage stamp is valuable. It has definite value. And then there's a lot of money in CDVs. And I was talking to a young guy the other day, and I'm talking about CDVs. And I looked at him and I said, "You do know what a CDV is, don't you?" And he said, "Well, of course I do." And I look at him again. I said, "We're talking about a photograph here, right?" And he said, "Well, no. A CDV, Susan, is a carte de visite, okay? And they're photographs put on cardboard from 1850 to 1910." Okay. And they were given out almost like a business card. I mean, you had your picture on it. And so Lincoln CDVs are, very, very highly collectible. Well,
what did he think you were talking about?
He was talking about compact disc video,
yes.
A CDV from the 1980s. And here, again, a generation gap there. Yes, the terminology or was the same, but totally different subject matter. And so we had a good laugh over that. But of course, CDVs are very collectible, even the new ones, because you think about 1980, that's what, 40,
a long time ago,
43 years ago? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So even compact discs are collectible. But at any rate.
Back to Lincoln. Okay, so we're looking for CDVs, stamps, coins. What else you got? What else is collectible? Bus.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. My goodness, bus. And again, when I was a kid, every museum I ever visited with my family always had a Lincoln top hat, quote unquote, a Lincoln top hat. How many of them were really Lincoln top hats? We don't know. But everybody that had a top hat in their museum years ago, it was always a Lincoln top hat.
Wow.
So,
remember, we had one at auction, and we had Tucker wearing it.
Well, that wasn't a Lincoln top hat, though.
It wasn't, though.
That was a top hat. And speaking of which, we do have some top hats coming up.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
In our next auction, as a matter of fact. So, I don't have time for a quick story, do I?
Well, you got to talk fast. But
okay.
That next auction we're talking about is January 6th.
Years ago.
I want to get that in.
Years ago, I actually ended up buying Adolf Hitler's photo album, but that's a whole nother story. Because of the headlines I made, everybody was trying to sell me things. The family of Abraham Lincoln tried to sell me the Lincoln photo album. I didn't believe it was real. And years later, it went up for auction over $1 million.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. It was the real McCoy.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
didn't recognize it. That was long before Donley Auctions.
Interesting
and that's why I'm in the auction business now.
The Donley Auction Hour. I'm sure we'll have some more coming up. Don't go anywhere, folks. We have Shauna Donley coming up with an update on the Donley Real Estate Group. And I'm going to give you an update on all these upcoming auctions we keep talking about because it's not too late to consign. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer.
And now, more of the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan, co-owner of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. Here with my partner, Randy Donley. We're going to talk to Shauna with a little bit on the Donley Group update. But first, Randy wants to talk about Lincoln again. You got more information?
You know what, Susan, I just wanted to remind everybody out there why I was talking about Lincoln.
And
that is simply because we're in the land of Lincoln. And there's a lot of people who collected Abraham Lincoln memorabilia here in Illinois.
Okay.
So I'm telling everybody, we can sell your collections. If you have a Lincoln collection or just interesting items, I'm always looking for Lincoln memorabilia to sell. So
all right,
now that I got that out there.
You done now? Okay, send us an email at consign@donleyauctions.com with some general information and some photos, and we will let Randy take those calls about Abraham Lincoln.
I will.
All right. We have Shauna Donley, your daughter, who is leading up the Donley Group. Hi, Shauna. Thanks for joining the show. Tell us what's new.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Randy. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Well, I just would like to let everybody know what the Donley Group is. We are a group of real estate brokers with At Properties Christie International. Our goal is to sell your homes for top dollar, not necessarily auction them. We go on the public market just like anybody else with At Properties. So as far as updates go, I'd like to let everybody know as people are moving out of state, buying second homes, transferring for jobs. You don't have to live in Illinois. in order for me to sell the property that you have here. You don't have to live in Illinois in order to buy a property here. Just last week, I got an email from someone who found us through the Donley Auctions website, clicked on the real estate tab, sent me an email. He lives in France, and he has a condo in downtown Chicago that he'd like me to sell for him in the new year. So we can take care of everything digitally. It's
wow.
People forget how technology is. It even applies in real estate. I can take care of everything for you.
That's wonderful. And I know a lot of agents just use their cell phone pics to sell properties and homes. What do you do differently, Shauna, when you're selling homes for people?
I take it you've been looking at some real estate. And
we have, as a matter of fact.
Some non-professional photos out there. So our group takes care of everything. There are no additional fees for advertising, for photography, floor plans, digital walkthroughs. And that's all part of the importance when we do have out-of-state investors who are buying or selling. We want to show your property online just like it is a virtual showing, because that's what happens. Your first showing is always online.
I even saw one time, Shauna, you were using a drone. Do you still use drones out there for overhead shots?
If the property calls for it, absolutely. Okay. We do drones, we do virtual tours, digital floor plans, everything. It's all taken care of, and no additional cost.
And Susan, I'm so glad you brought up that issue of photography, because that's one thing we strive for at Donley Auctions, is taking great photos of items for sale. And to watch what Shauna does, to list a piece of property with the photography and everything, it's absolutely incredible. And you keep the Donley name looking good, Shauna. I appreciate that.
That's right. You don't have to be there to see it. The photos speak for themselves, just like our items at auction. Our photographers, Jim Obos.
Top notch.
My gosh, Jim and Becky, JPM Photography. If you want to see a crack or a chip in an item, it's going to be in the photos, folks. So, again, it's all about integrity and being very honest with our merchandise. Got to see the photos.
Shauna,
and it's the same thing in real estate, how important that is. As an agent, you don't want to just stick a property on the MLS and sit back and wait for the showings to come to you.
Right.
We aggressively advertise our properties because it's so important to get our clients top dollar when we're selling a house.
Shauna, one thing I want to mention again and again and again, you and I were at a couple properties this week together, and I remember a gentleman saying, the neighbor's really interested in this, and that would be the easy way for me to go. And I did say to him, yes, it would be the easy way to go, but what are you going to get for it? What's it worth? I said to him, if you had $10,000 in cash right now in your hand, would you just go give it to the neighbor and say, hey, you're a great neighbor. You've been good living next to us all these years. I just want to give you a $10,000 tip for that. And he said, well, no, of course not. And I said, well, that's a good chance of what you're doing by not listing your property. Because, Shauna, you continually get more than full price offers for these properties. Explain that.
Well, it's a combination. And first, I just want to say that $10,000 number, you just pulled that out of the air for an example, because sometimes I've gotten people $50,000 more, not more than asking necessarily, but more than what they were willing to take, because we analyze the market, we do a comparative market analysis and a broker price opinion, and we make sure that we are pricing this property for the seller's best interest. Sometimes that's top dollar. Sometimes it's a quick sale. So I work with my sellers to formulate a game plan. I don't just say, this is the price, work with me or don't. We put a plan together and really do work together. So when it does come to selling property over asking, especially in this market, with interest rates expected to drop 4 to 6 times next year,
yes,
sellers, get your property on the market now. It's going to happen.
Wonderful.
We are able to truly achieve a lot more because we're not just a local company. You get a local feel working with us. You have my cell phone number when we work together. You can contact me anytime for any reason. But we are a global presence. So your property is being advertised all over the world, not just to the people on your street.
That's right. Shauna, thank you so much for joining the show with that update of the Donley Group. You can get a hold of Shauna at DonleyAuctions.com. That's DONLEY. Go to the real estate tab, and you will get Shauna's information immediately and can talk to her direct. Don't go anywhere, folks. We are going to talk about upcoming auctions, some more consignment items we're looking for. Randy always has a list of things he likes to talk about. But you're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here every Saturday at 1 o'clock on AM 560, The Answer.
The Donley Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan, here with Randy Donley. We're the owners of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. We're just 60 miles west of Chicago. We have an auction coming up January 6th that I want to talk about. You know, normally we do our firearms and ammunition auctions with military.
With military,
but we had
the second day, right?
Such a great turnout of firearms and ammo that we had to do a separate day for the military auction. So mark your calendars for Saturday, January 6th. Randy, tell them about the great items coming up in January.
Well, we've got all kinds of goodies as far as military. If you like helmets, there's a fabulous selection of helmets, both German and American, you know, some foreign helmets. Not a lot this time, but some watches, I mean, ship's clocks, I mean, all kinds of goodies. There's daggers, flags, swords. For a military collector, there's something for everyone, whether you collect American items or German, Japanese, you know,
Korean,
all
the wars.
Oddly, we don't have a huge selection of Japanese in this auction, but we just got a collection in of 1,000 items, almost all World War II Japanese. That's coming up for a future auction.
Okay.
So
I heard that might be February.
Keep your eyes open for that.
Okay.
But, Susan, you liked these little German regimental flasks. We have regimental flasks and steins and all kinds of truly goodies in this. When will this be online?
It should be online as we speak now.
Oh, my goodness.
So
really?
Go to our website at donleyauctions.com. Go to the January 6th photo. It's a flyer of all the items, and there will be a button there that will take you to our bidding platforms. So you can bid now. You don't have to come out live to Union, Illinois, as much as we'd love to see you and meet you. You can bid from home online. There is an extra 5% fee to do that out of convenience, you know, to be able to not drive anywhere. Yeah. But yeah, you can bid at home. You can bid live with us in person. You can put an absentee bid in. Just call the office. And I even do phone bids. It's like you're there live.
You know, more auctions that we've got coming up will be license plates. Everybody knows we sold a license plate for over $30,000. And it was number one, first plate ever made in Illinois. We sold it. Now, guess what we've got coming up? A 1911 porcelain license plate, number one, serial number one, from the city of St. Louis, Missouri. 1911 Missouri license plate number one.
That is very exciting.
That should go for huge money. So you want to get your license plates in that auction. And we particularly love it when there's big runs. You know, people used to have the same number for years and years and years, and, you know, they never changed their number. They nailed them up in the garage, in the rafters or the walls, and that's where they're still at. That's where we find license plates all the time, folks, is in your garages. We'll come and we'll rip them down for you. We'll take them out
That's right.
and do whatever's necessary to make it fit in your wallet.
That's right. You got license plates. Send us an email at consign@donleyauctions.com with some general info and some photos. We've got to see the photos and where you're located.
And, of course, Louis DePasqua is putting together our guitar and band instruments auction. That's coming up. If you've got anything from bands and equipment and instruments, early band clothing, we're looking for it.
That's right. And one of my favorite auctions coming up that I can't wait to see is March 16th. We have an amazing ordnance collection. I don't know, 800 to 1,000 items, folks. You can't miss it. But go to our website at donleyauctions.com for those upcoming dates. Tune in next week. More interesting stories. For now, I'm Susan.
And I'm Randy Donley. And we'll see you at the auction.
Thanks for listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonleyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonleyAuctions.com.